This is my 1969 Mustang. It's a Mach 1 car. I've owned the car over 15 years and finished it about 10 years ago. Got it done for my wedding, but I want to redo it. I want to do it up as an autocross car and make some pretty big changes to it, but my goal is to have it finished for October. There's a big race coming. It's the Buckeye Skips Drag and Drive. It's my father's race up in Ohio. It's going to be 3 tracks over 3 days, and I'm excited. It should have a good turnout and be a lot of fun. The car's got a number of blemishes, and I've got some things that I want to change up on it. I've been saving up and buying parts. I bought a whole new 3-link suspension for the rear here. It's a TCI kit, and I've also got the independent front suspension kit for the front. So all the factory shock towers are going to come out. I've got to cut everything out, get this Cleveland motor out. This is a 351 Cleveland, which I love, but I can't run it with the new suspension. They don't have compatibility with the pan. So it'll get replaced with a 351 Windsor. I've got a 351 Windsor block, which I'm going to tear down today. Another issue is I've got to change out my fender aprons. I closed my hood one day and the latch didn't actually latch. So as you can imagine, the hood came up. It ripped the hinges out on the side there, and it also beat up my cowl panel pretty good. I've got some body work to do here. And then also it hit the roof and it left a pretty good crease. So I'll have to hit that too. That's in the plans. Fortunately, it didn't break the windshield. I don't know how that happened. In the back here, I've got decent sized tires, but they're too big for the quarter panels. And you can see here, I'm rubbing. I rolled the fenders, or the quarters, but I'm still biting in hard. Anytime I do a burnout or I jump on it, that suspension squats and it just cuts the tire. So the fix for that is I've got a Detroit Speed mini tub kit that I've purchased. To put it in, I'm going to have to cut out these rear wheel wells and move the frame rail in, which I'm excited about. And it'll let me run a bigger tire, about a 335 they say. On the sides, this is another issue I've got to fix. The windows are the glue-in glass for the 69. There's a big gap, and I think I can fix that by picking up some 70 glass hopefully at the swap meet in April. But if not, I'll probably cut out this glass and re-glue it because I'm out of adjustment. I've got this big gap and I just can't bring it in any farther without re-gluing it. So here's my replacement motor. This is a 351 Windsor out of a 1995 F-150, I believe. I got it from a guy local. He was pulling it out of his truck and gonna rebuild it, and I think it just got away from him. So it already had the intake off on it. It is a factory roller motor, which is nice. You can see it's got the spider on it and the taller bosses. People have had mixed reviews about what kind of horsepower these will hold. I'm hoping for 550 to 600 with my build. I've got a decent cam I'm gonna put in it, but I need to strip this down. Today I'm gonna take it apart, get all these pieces, parts off of it, the heads, all the internals out of it, and get it ready for the machine shop so they can freshen it up for me. Barely got started on this project and already ran into a surprise. As soon as I started tearing this down and pulled the plug out. Oh no! That's not good. It's that real lightweight oil. Heads off, I found my second surprise. This motor got a lot of water in it, and it sat with them in the cylinders, and I've got a good bit of rust forming up. And one of these cylinders is a lot cleaner than the others, which is a red flag. I'll check it in a little bit, but I'm hoping this is factory bore. No matter what, I'm going to have to get this block redecked. I'm just hoping nobody's bored this in the past. pulling these front lifters out, both of them on the same cylinder, look like they have RTV in them. I believe it is a water oil mix that just got jumped up and has some corrosion. Well, here's another surprise now that the oil pan's off. The block here, the casting shows it's an F4 or a 94. We can tell by the Ford date codes. But the main caps are different. The casting number on this says E3, which is their 83 caps. At some point, all of these caps were switched out, and I don't know if it's because there was damage or they maybe had a couple of motors and just got them mixed up, but these aren't the original caps that came on this motor. So hopefully everything was machined together and in spec. And here's something else. I haven't touched these rod bolts yet. And while I'm looking at these caps, these things are finger tight. So apparently these didn't get torqued, or maybe the bolts weren't seated when they torqued them. But I can almost fit my whole finger in there. So I imagine these bearings are toast if this thing ran. Well, here's that connecting rod with the bearing, and as we expected, it's pretty chewed up. It's all torn up. But here's the belle of the ball. The issue with this motor was the piston. There's a hole in it. Both rings are split. They're broken. I don't think this guy was forthcoming. He knew there was something a little more than it's just worn out. It's not overly concerning. I'm going to switch out the pistons anyways. The connecting rods, the pistons, the crank are all getting swapped out for a 408 rotating assembly. But the issue with it is you don't do that much damage to a piston without tearing up a cylinder wall. So I'll mic the cylinder walls, and hopefully we got enough meat there that this isn't a deal breaker. So this is the second motor that I've seen like this. I bought a complete motor trying to save time one time, and it failed on me because of the same issue. These rod bolts were never seated. So when they installed this, they probably torqued everything, but if those weren't against the connecting rod, it never went to torque spec. And then as the motor runs, it slides down and finds its seat, and it creates a giant gap. I'm still amazed that it didn't spin the bearing around on the rod. It just destroyed the piston, but that's what caused this thing to fail without a doubt. Slide hammer. Just used this for axles the other day. Actually works pretty good. Really should make a little D-ring for it, just so I'm pulling centered on it. This technique works good, but don't use it if you plan to keep your cam. So once the cam's out, I can start measuring things. I've still got to pull the cam bearings out, but I'll get a quick visit from the supervisors, let them check it out, make sure that everything's coming out to spec and I didn't miss anything. And then once Skylar gives me her approval, I can start miking this motor. So with the mics, I've got the mic gauge set up. These are inside mics. I use outside mics to get it dialed in to 0 and then check my difference on it. And I'll check each one of the cylinders. And each one of the cylinders actually are standard bore. This thing's never been machined, and all of them are within a couple of thousandths. I think the farthest reading that I found was around 2 thousandths in the bores, maybe 3 thousandths. I've got a couple spots in the cylinder, and I can feel it right here. I've got a bad spot. It's hard to see on the camera, but right there, and then certainly right here where I've got some scoring. This is where the top of the piston broke, and it just beat up the cylinder a little bit. So let's check it and see if I can do this with the camera in my hand. If I bring this out and I run it through, it's really not bad. I'm at 2.5 thousandths. How about in the damaged spot right here? Not bad, 2 thousandths. And then farther down in the bore, if we check it there, 1 thousandths. So really, it didn't tear the cylinder up too bad. So a couple scratches, I think 30 over would be fine for this one. There's the motor all stripped down. All of the galley plugs are out. I've got all of the head stud guides out. Cam bearings are out. Everything's mic'd and measured. I think it's ready to be machined. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the rust the best that I can. And again, I got the main bearing sitting on it. Clean it up the best I can. I still have to check the bores for the lifters. But everything looks all right. I think this will be a decent block as long as it checks out and there's no cracks.